the car to see what was wrong with it, and he agreed. But when the plaintiff heard how much it was going to cost for a new tranny, he told him he didn't want the car and to just sell it. No one has been interested in it. The guy just abandoned it on his lot, and if anyone's owed money here, it is him. He's accused of warning a guy about some tranny trouble. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $2,000 for 2 years' worth of storage.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Do something. Show me a text, an email, anything. Bring me the testimony of the guy who says he talked to. Don't laugh. You're not doing so well. Hold on. This is a step-by-step process.
This case in the docket, the plaintiff brought his car to the defendant's shop for a diagnosis, and the guy says it's going to cost $1,500 if you don't get your car back. Now, the defendant says he was totally above board. It's the case of diagnosis lawsuits.
Juscelino Duarte?
Yes, Your
You
Honor.
are suing Bob. You've asked to be referred to only as Bob. Actually, not Bob personally. You're suing his auto repair shop. All right. For $2,000, which you say he owes you because he has your Jaguar. You're counterclaiming against him also $2,000 for storage fees for 2 years. All right. Gentlemen, tell me your tangled tale of one of the strangest arrangements I've ever seen. Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor, very strange. Early 2013, around January, I brought my Jaguar to this gentleman for an estimate. Apparently...
Why did you bring it to him? What was wrong with your car?
A transmission problem.
Okay, how did you know it had a transmission problem?
Friends are mechanics. They're sort of like diagnosis by looking at it. And a friend of mine came for dinner and insisted that I would bring the car to his shop, and claimed that this shop was very reputable and it's great services. And I did, trusted him. I have the car towed to his shop, and I was waiting for a while on the estimate. Bob came with an estimate of $3,375. And at that point in my life, the number was not doable for me because of my finances. I told Bob that the numbers was not viable, and I tried to retract the car, and he said, well, he owed me $1,500.
$1,500?
$1,500. I said, $1,500 for what? Of course, I was expecting to pay him something. I didn't think that looking at the car should be free. I've paid...
But didn't you folks sit down and sign something about what looking at the car would cost?
Well...
Did he sign something about what looking at the car would cost?
No, but we have a verbal authorization in the form of a social security number for me to remove and inspect the damage.
A social security number?
We'll get something personal information, being that he's not there to sign
the car's there. Okay, but what I don't understand is, how do you just present somebody with a $1,500 bill?
No.
Like, if they didn't agree to pay $1,500, how do you get the $1,500?
The labor, he was told, but this is how we proceed. When a car comes in, we'll check it out, we'll call them back, tell them this is what we feel the problem is. In his case, the problem was the transfer case. So we told him to remove and inspect the damage. It will be $695. And then, whatever the cost...
Stop a second. That's where I want to stop you. When did someone say to him to remove and inspect the damage? Stop shaking your head. You're not a bobblehead. When did someone say to him, it will cost you $695 for us to look at it?
After we inspected the...
Oh, afterwards?
He dropped off the vehicle. We couldn't do it right then and there,
right,
because it takes time to inspect, see where the problem is.
Right. So when does someone say that to him? 2
to 3 days later.
Who says it to him?
My manager.
Where's your manager now?
He's not working with me.
You don't have an affidavit from him or anything else?
No.
Okay. So according to you, someone tells him it's $695 for us to look at it, or we already looked at it and that's going to be $695?
No, to look at it, to remove
and he gave
inspect.
Verbal approval for you to spend to pay you the $695. Watch this. Did that happen?
No.
Okay. How are you going to prove that happened when the person who tells you that happened, oh, don't worry, I got approval, isn't here to testify for you? Okay, so then...
I can't answer that. However, this is where we ask the customer, give me some sort of a personal information.
The fact that you have a personal... Look, let me tell you something. First of all, you know that there are written rules, that there are laws about what you guys are supposed to do. You're supposed to get a written estimate before you do any work. And if you want to get paid for something, you're supposed to have a written estimate before that. You know that. That's New York law, right? You're in New York? Yeah.
Yes.
It's New York law. You know that, right? Yes or no?
However,
Then you just have to get it in writing. Okay, so don't tell me, oh, we got his Social Security. How else would we got it if he hadn't approved it? Because the way you need to prove to me that he approved it is by having it in writing. And you don't have it in writing. But I will also accept, because your state doesn't say to you, like some states do, if you don't have it in writing, goodbye. You can't charge. Some states actually do that. Yours is not a state that does that. So I would accept any proof that the guy had approved the $695. Show me something. Show me something. Show me a text, an email, anything. Bring me the testimony of the guy who says he talked to. Don't laugh. You're not doing so well. Hold on. This is a step-by-step process. We haven't gotten to the strange part yet. So I would expect some way that somebody is proving to me that that man authorized it. Because what actually happens is that when you present him with a bill, and he says that you said $1,500.
Well, that would be to put it back together and
Oh, for the love of God. So somebody has to pay you $1,500 for you to tell them that the transmission's $3,000? Okay. So when he says $1,500 to you, you say, no way. And then what happens when he says that to you?
I said, no, I'm not going to put more money into this car because this car, I've owned it since 2003 and it became a money pit. And I did not have the funds. He refused to give me the car back. So then I came out with a formula to resolve this amicably, and I said, Bob, why don't you fix the car since you think that you're halfway through? We sell the car, and we'll split the money. Or you take your...
And you say...
And he agreed it. He agreed upon it.
It sounded like a good idea. Excellent. What went wrong?
It's Money Pit on wheels. Will the plaintiff get $2,000?
Okay, shouldn't cost $1,500 to begin with. What else? I mean, the guy said diagnosis, and apparently nothing was discussed in terms of money.
There's no agreement on paper. Nothing signed.
So is a diagnosis free then?
Yes, absolutely. If there was nothing stating that up front.
Interesting. Diagnosis free?
Absolutely.
So you have to say what it's going to cost, or it's all done for free.
Yeah, if you don't sign anything or agree to it, then there's no agreement.
Interesting. Okay, going inside the courtroom.
The car didn't sell. It was overpriced, so that's okay. A year and a half went by, then last...
Year and a half? Wow, you guys aren't trying to sell that car very hard. Go ahead.
This was January of 2000.
The car was never...
No, I'm not talking to you. Go ahead.
Okay. So back, I had a new manager come in, so I said, you know what, why don't you call the gentleman and see what we can get this car done and out of here. So I said, give me
So did you fix the car?
Yes.
So you put in a new transfer case?
Yes.
That job that was $3,000?
Yes.
And so you called him after several years of trying to sell it. How hard were you trying to sell it that it didn't sell? Why didn't you bring the price down?
I put it out every so often, but it's not for me to make the decision on the price.
Did you ask him and he said no?
I said yes.
Wait, stop talking. No one's talking to you. Go ahead.
So he responded by saying, reduce the price to $2,800. In the meantime, in his email...
And did you reduce the price to $2,800?
Yes.
And it still didn't sell?
Didn't sell.
So when do you decide, I'm going to charge storage fees?
Just when he sued me, I said, you know what?
And why are you suing him? You didn't even make the slightest effort to sell it yourself before you run to a courthouse and say, give me $2,000.
Because he actually, I went to the court after he said to me, I have it on here, on the tape, that he would start imposing charges.
Oh, you didn't mention that. Go ahead, play the tape.
But I never did.
That doesn't matter. You're already changing the deal. Go ahead.
Because we had a verbal agreement.
No. Go. Play it.
Sorry,
Truca is still wondering what you want to do with your car, sir. You need to give me a call. We're going to start imposing the storage charges. Please call me. Thank you.
All right, and that was what day? Had he called you before that? Because he sounds frustrated.
He called me once.
Before that?
Before that.
Did you return his phone call?
Yes, in writing. It's right here.
Let me see it.
And that's when I made a decision to sell it first. And by the way, Your Honor,
sell it first?
To sell it to lower the price so he could sell the car. And Your Honor,
Yeah, but it still didn't sell. That was back in
Your
September
Honor,
of 2014.
the car is there with $4,200. He never lowered the price.
Do you have a picture of that?
I went there, but it was the time that was snowing. I drove by the...
But if the car's there for $4,200, you would see it. That's how you know to say that to me.
I saw it.
If you saw it with the sign, why didn't you take a picture of it with your phone that takes pictures? That's not just for dirty pictures. That's also for other stuff.
Right.
Okay. So in this email in September of 2014, you say put it out there for $2,800. Mm-hmm.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. I feel, Bob, like you're not doing all the things you need to do in order to be able to sell it. You haven't even once in all this time put it in Auto Trader or anything else. You have some problems. And the problem that you have is you wanted $1,500 for giving him an estimate. And when you want that, you darn well better be able to prove that he approved it. And the way that you prove it is by having the estimate for the estimate in writing, and he signs it. And you don't have that, and that's the law in your state. Yeah, I want to hear
Just
you
to
on that.
respond to
Yeah.
that. A lot of times it's not convenient for people to come to the shop and sign, so that's why we get a verbal attestation.
That's why God invented fax and scan, okay?
Agree.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter, because you two resolved that little problem on your own. You decided we'll split whatever we get out of the car. That's what you two decided. And then you lowered the price once, and now you lowered the price again. So I think that I'm stunned that somebody hasn't bought it. And I think that if you just tried a little harder to do what your agreement with him was, somebody might buy it.
I even offered him.
But you also have done nothing. You know that the day after day is passing. And so when you wrote this email in September, why didn't you put it in Craigslist? You could help sell the car by putting it on Craigslist and putting his address and having people go over there if they want to take a look at it. That's it. Nobody here is doing anything. But then you both come crying to me and expect me to do something. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do nothing. Okay? I'm going to dismiss this lawsuit without prejudice for you to bring it back at some other time where you can prove to a judge that you've both made every effort to go ahead and sell it. Because it boggles the imagination that this won't get sold. And on your counterclaim against him for storage fees, you lose. Because that is not the agreement you two had. All right? Okay, and do me a favor. Drop me a line and let me know. Okay? Let me know that you've sold it. Okay? Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It shouldn't be that difficult to sell this car. What's the big problem? What's the big holdup?
Well, I think that probably, as Your Honor said, it probably lack of my effort to join forces and put in a Craigslist. I think from now on, what I'll do is we can come to a agreement in which I'm going to take charge and see if we can sell it together.
Write it down, too.
Yeah.
All right, head out that way. That's basically. All right, Bob.
Yeah.
Why are you so slow, Bob?
Why am I so slow? What do you mean?
Why don't you move the thing?
I'm not into sales. I don't sell cars. I repair cars.
You do it fast?
I hope so.
Okay, so what are you going to do now? You're going to...
Well, like I said, we'll probably come to a different agreement and see what we can do and get it past us.
You just going to shake hands and make it a verbal agreement?
I already made him an offer of